Greetings, my peculiar petunias. Welcome to my channel. My name is Dead Girl, and this is where I talk about whatever I want to, because I don't need to commit to one type of video. Welcome to a new series that I call Weird Wikipedia. I have an obsession with weird, obscure Wikipedia pages and the rabbit hole that you usually go down from reading them. Now, for today's episode of Weird Wikipedia, I'm going to be covering an actor that has been in some of the most famous films of the 1980s and 90s. Today, I present to you Darla the dog. Now, Darla the dog is best known for her role in the 1991 Academy Award-winning thriller Silence of the Lambs. Darla is a white bichon frisé, and everyone who knows me knows that my biggest source of joy and love in the world comes from little white crusty dogs. I just love their affinity for chaos. I love how they're always ancient with a bunch of medical issues, but they never seem to die. And most of all, I love how they stare into your soul as if they know how and when you're going to die. So when I found out that the dog from Silence of the Lambs has its own Wikipedia page and IMDb, I was absolutely thrilled. I saw this dog and said, well, time to put away the pistol that you've had on your desk for the past weeks, because now you have something to live for. So, let's break down the Wikipedia article about Darla the dog, as well as everything I was able to find out about her from my research. Darla was born in 1975, most likely in California, although I couldn't find her exact birth date or place. She was known for being a very smart and playful dog that loved being around people. And according to her trainer, Christine Neal, her big thing was stealing people's socks. So, what do we know about Darla so far? We know that she's very cute and lovable, and she was born during the Gerald Ford administration, and she has a foot fetish. And you know what? I'll say it, just because Darla was a celebrity in the public eye does not mean that it's our business to know what she liked to do with people's feet. And I resent her trainer for outing such a personal tidbit of information. Alright, sorry for getting distracted, but let's get into Darla's filmography. So, Darla's first role was in 1985's Pee-wee's Big Adventure. In this movie, she is credited as a pink poodle. Her fur is dyed pink, and she is seen in a basket in the movie. I tried to find exactly what scene she was in. At first, I figured it would be the scene where Pee-wee is in the pet shop trying to save all the animals. But upon rewatching it, no, she's not in that. So without rewatching the entire movie, I'm not going to be able to tell you about the exact scene she was in, and I apologize for that. But honestly, I probably should rewatch the movie, because the first time and only time I watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure, I was on a lot of mushrooms and I almost had my heart stop when Pee-wee pulled out the black gum and gave it to that guy, and all like the black goop started coming from his mouth. That changed my mental capacity for love and understanding, and I have been changed ever since seeing that. So maybe it's a good idea to watch it sober. Darla's next role was in 1988's Coming to America, starring Eddie Murphy, and more importantly, starring Garcelle Beauvais. There's not a lot to say about this one. I couldn't find any pictures from the movie or any information about what scene she was in, but I'm sure whatever scene she was in, she stole it with her glamour and her wit. Next, we have her role in 1989's The Burbs, starring Tom Hanks. She has a lot more scenes in this movie as the elderly neighbor's dog named Queenie. How fitting. Luckily, there's quite a few pictures of her from this movie. In this one, she looks a little extra crusty, which only makes my love for her grow. Alright, this now brings us to the moment everyone was waiting for in the video, Darla's most famous role as Buffalo Bill's dog Precious in 1991's Silence of the Lambs. So up until now, she had been in a few cute, wholesome family comedies, but it was time for her to make her big horror movie debut. In this movie, she is the beloved pet of the unhinged and admittingly cunty serial killer and woman suit fabricator, Buffalo Bill, played by Ted Levine. She actually plays a pretty crucial part in the plot, especially when she falls into the hole pit that Buffalo Bill's victims are being kept in. Precious injures her leg, and the victim, Catherine, uses this to bargain with Bill. Darla's also in maybe the most famous, most quoted part of the movie, where she's being held by Buffalo Bill, and he utters his line about putting the lotion in the basket. You know the one. And she's just kind of sitting there. I think she like yelps at one point. It's really, really cute, despite how disturbing the scene is. This is definitely my favorite film out of her filmography, and it is why her status as a canine actress legend has lived on. I also think it's pretty hilarious seeing Darla look down into the bit at Catherine. Like, imagine being trapped and starved so that someone can make a skin suit out of you, and then you just look up and see the judgmental gaze of this crusty little white dog. Like, that's just an extra insult to injury there. Her final film role was credited as Ratty Poodle in 1992's Batman Returns. I'm so sick of Darla getting typecasted as a poodle when she is in fact a Bichon. That's just not okay. And we're taking roles away from actual poodles. I think it's worth talking about. And now, I'm going to read the Wikipedia description of her role from this movie. In Batman Returns, Darla's last film appearance, she is credited as Ratty Poodle, but because her fur was purposely roughed up for the part, she is barely recognizable. I love that. She's a character actress. She did a full transformation for this. Anyway, in one scene, the Penguin and his crew show up to confront Batman, and one of the members of the crew is a blonde woman dressed in Victorian-era style clothing, and she is carrying Darla. In this movie, Darla is portrayed as a major nuisance to Batman. Darla ran to catch Batman's self-operating batarang used by his enemies in an attempt to frame him in the murder of the Ice Princess, thus confounding the Penguin's plan. So while she's not exactly a Batman villain, Darla is, I think, canonically a Batman anti-heroine. And I love that. She needs to be featured in a comic stat. Darla also has a few television credits to her name as well. In the TV shows Coach and Erie, Indiana, both in the early 90s. And in the 2021 sequel to Silence of the Lambs, Clarice. Darla's role of Precious was reprised by another Bichon named Kendall. For some reason, when I read that fact, I was filled with a lot of melancholy. Like, it's just a big reminder of the shorter lifespan of animals, and it really makes me want to cry that Darla was not able to play her own role that she made famous. It's sad, it really is. Darla passed away in 1992 in Thousand Oaks, California, at the age of 17. She lived a long life and was beloved by those who knew her. It's crazy to think about how big the movies were that she worked in. Some of the most iconic movies of the 80s and 90s that really define the decade cinematically. She's worked with huge stars like Eddie Murphy, Tom Hanks, Jodie Foster, Danny DeVito. And it's also interesting that she worked in 2 of Tim Burton's movies before his career completely fell off. Darla will live on as my favorite animal actor and will always have a place in my heart. Cheers, Darla. May you rest in power. Alright, y'all. That's it for this episode of Weird Wikipedia. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dead Girl. Please like and subscribe. And if you feel like it, you can support my Patreon in the description of this channel. And with that, good night and goodbye.